Hello, I'm back for another installment here of Retrodrome, and once again I'm going to be talking about a film, and this is The Hand with Michael Caine, an Oliver Stone film. Now let me talk a minute about Oliver Stone in this movie. Most people know him from these controversial films such as JFK, Natural Born Killers, Nixon, etc. There was a time during his career when he said that his first film was Salvador in 1986, and he didn't acknowledge that he had made two horror films, Seizure in 1974, which had Barbara Steele and Hervé Villechaize, and then he had made The Hand. And The Hand, however, has finally come out on DVD, and apparently he has not disowned it any longer, or he's reacquired his pride in it. He does complain quite a bit on the commentary about the lighting in the film, but he has not distanced himself any longer from this movie, and there never was a reason for him to do that, because it's really one of his best films. Certainly preferable to anything like W or World Trade Center, where he's just kind of gone off the rails these days, let's just be honest. And anyway, The Hand is a genre film, which might be one reason why Stone, didn't want that to be forefront of his resume. But it's basically a horror film that riffs on the same idea of Beast with Five Fingers, or Mad Love, or The Hands of Orlok, where you have a detached hand, and in some way it's possessed or possesses someone. In this case, it's got a nice twist. It's a comic book artist named Jonathan Lansdale. I don't know if he's related to Joe not Lansdale or not, but he's a British comic book artist, played by Michael Caine. Just wonderful, awesome performance by Michael Caine. And he has a comic strip called Mandro, which is based on Conan, and they actually got Barry Windsor Smith during his pre-Raphaelite phase to come over and draw the fictitious comic strip of Mandro. Even though by this time Barry Windsor Smith's art looked nothing like it did in Conan, it still was pretty cool to have him in there and lending some authenticity. But and actually Oliver Stone had written a screenplay for Conan around that time, but they eventually rejected it because they said it would be too expensive, and I think it would have been great. But anyway, so he has this character Mandro, and he's very attached to him, and he's a simple, straightforward, I don't want to say macho, but I guess maybe macho, strong kind of character, much like Conan. And he gets in a car accident, Jonathan Lansdale. He has a very obnoxious wife, played by Andrea Marcovici, and they just have a contentious marriage. She wants to be hippy-dippy and do yoga and, discover her inner child and butterflies and everything like that. Whereas he is, more like pragmatic. He wants to raise his daughter, and he wants to do his comic strip, and that's about it. And due to their bickering, and they get in an accident, and his hand is severed, his right hand that he draws with. So naturally he's rather traumatized, and for a while he takes a job as a consultant on the strip to try to direct it, but they bring in an underground comic book artist who tries to make it relevant. And the more conservative Lansdale and the artist have a hilarious exchange where there's kind of a satire on the whole division between the generations as far as the style of comic book writing, because the new guy tries to make Mandro tormented and conflicted and, angst-ridden like a Marvel superhero, and Michael Caine is basically like, Mandro wouldn't do that, and and he's like telling it like it is. So they have a parting of the ways because the artwork gets slashed by a mysterious person, and they think it's the daughter of Jonathan Lansdale, but then the question is it himself? And then the other question is where's his hand? He goes to find it a few times, and he finds the ring that he had worn with his initials on it, but he doesn't find his actual hand himself. So there's no way they can reattach it or anything, and they figure it's probably been rotted away. But then strange things start happening, like a wino who bumps into Jonathan, who is played by Oliver Stone, meets kind of a gruesome fate. It seems like you do see the hand, and it seems as the hand is indeed a disembodied but living hand, and that it's running on the will of killing people or harming people who are getting in the way of Jonathan Lansdale's happiness. And so it's only a matter of time before it's going to go in the direction of his family. And his wife and him, they sever ties, and she finds a Mikhail Baryshnikov looking guru, so to speak, and he's kind of left alone, and once again he's sullen and has an affair with a young student. And beyond that, I don't want to give too much more of the plot away because it will give the spoilers away as to what happens to who and what happens to the hand. But suffice to say, you're going to wonder at the end of the movie, forever and ever, you're going to wonder, was the hand real? Did it really have a life of its own after it was severed? Was it really helping Lansdale? Or was Lansdale himself doing criminal acts? Was he killing people? It's totally wide open. The last shot is beautiful. Michael Caine is just incredible in the last shot because it totally makes you think anything could have happened in the movie. You know, you go back and you question what happened in the film and what it could have meant. So anyway, that's the film itself. Contrary to Oliver Stone's commentary, I believe the cinematography is really nice, and the effects were done by for the hand were done by Carlo Rambaldi, who created E.T. He also worked on Alien. He also worked on some Lucio Fulci films. He's just a master makeup artist. And he did a great job with the hand. Again, Stone wasn't really happy with it, and Stone is quite a perfectionist. But in reflection, the commentary is interesting, the audio commentary on the DVD, because he does reflect on the things he liked about it. He did like the performances by Michael Caine and Andrea Marcovicci. He did like the screenplay. And I think it's just a great riff on that kind of film, because there were so many films like that made with that basic plot in the 30s, 40s. But there hadn't really been one in that period of time. And so the whole idea of the hand having a life of its own and everything is just something he kind of updated. And I think he did a great job. I think the parts with the comic strip are really great. Being a comic book artist and collector, I mean, you know, I definitely shuddered when I thought he's really losing his hand that he can draw with. I mean, that's everybody's nightmare, and they exploit that really well, and Michael Caine really pulls home a great performance. So I would recommend this movie, no matter what the director says or has ever said. It's one of his best, and even if it weren't an Oliver Stone movie, I would still recommend it, because it's just a classic, once again, in one of those classic, kind of obscure horror movies now, that's being rediscovered because it's on DVD, and I think it's time for everybody to kind of see it, reappraise it, because it really appreciates it. I mean, it really deserves the appreciation it gets, and I think I would highly recommend it to anybody. And that's all I have to say on Retrodrome, so thank you.